fasten your seatbelts and hold on to your tits. It's time for our safety episode.
No one else that you can't say.
Not in the least. I look like a demon.
Citizens of the internet, welcome to another episode of On the Rag. Do you feel safe right now?
Until you asked.
But what do we mean by safety? What does it mean?
Well, I guess it means that you're not prey. That's kind of my bottom line.
Yeah, sure.
Moving around the world, being able to get from where I am to where I want to be without feeling like I'm prey.
Hunted.
Yeah.
The onus should not be on us
Yeah.
to be protecting ourselves from so much violence and harassment. The onus should be on the people who do the harassing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yet, here we are.
So what did you learn about it growing up? Because I remember the stranger danger stuff and being told by my grandmother not to take lollies from men in cars.
Yeah.
Which gave me this image as a small person that men just drove around in cars with
I
lollies.
expected to be offered lollies by so many more strangers than actually happened.
There's part of me that's really fought against the idea that I have to not do things to avoid putting myself into that situation because I work at night and at the end of the gig I'll go, right, see you later, I'm off to my car. And so we'll walk you to your car. And I find that so infantilising. Like it's supposed to be good. But I always want to go, no, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
keys between my fingers.
I'm packing.
Yeah. Everybody's terrified of me. I'm frightened. The idea that I can't get from my workplace to my car by myself makes me feel like a 2-year-old.
Yeah, valid.
When I'm with my female friends, it's always like you do the text me when you get home, safe. And that whole ritual is just something that, to my understanding, does not exist for men. Me and my friends have our sharing locations on with each other at all times.
Yeah.
Drains your battery like a bitch.
Yeah.
But when I get murdered, they're gonna find my body like that.
For most of us, there's not really any part of life where there isn't a very real risk to our mental or physical safety.
There was that amazing tweet, did you see, a while back, Amanda being like, there's no better time to walk and meditate and reflect and be mindful than when I'm walking home at night. And someone retweeted it and was just like, women have left the chat. Because I feel like that to me represents the pinnacle of like, if you could walk and just not be thinking about where you are and doing those million things and be thinking of yourself, kind of like you say, as prey, which is a really crazy mindset when you think that some people don't have that.
Yeah.
And they can just walk around and enjoy the night sky.
When I'm walking home at night, I walk in a very exaggerated man style so that no one driving up behind me thinks it's a woman walking on her own.
That's great.
Despite the large boobs and big ass, I do this.
See a demo?
When you are in your space, in your private world, you're walking to work or whatever, people are like, it's not enough that your world is smaller than mine. I need to barge into your world by yelling something at you.
Yeah.
Like, what
is that?
What is
What's
that?
the thinking? What do you think you're going to get out of that?
Well, guess what? I have a treat.
Yes.
Do you?
If you've ever wondered what kind of a person goes around yelling at women in the street, I have a world exclusive.
What?
With exactly one of those gentlemen.
Amazing.
I know.
Incredible.
Here's me with more. Like Bob Geldof and Bono before him, Tony donates hours of his time to a truly selfless cause. For the past 3 decades, he's been making women feel beautiful by loudly commenting on their physical attributes from the driver's seat of his car. Tony, welcome. Now tell me, why do you yell at women from your car?
Well, I really think of it as service. I'm here to help ladies, specifically to help them remember that they've got tits.
So selfless. Now tell me, how long have you been doing this for?
Oh, since I can remember. It actually goes back a long way in my family. My great-great-great-grandfather used to shout at ladies from the back of a horse, you know. I'll ride you next, that sort of thing. It's one of those things that really is a calling, really is something that over the years you have to make sacrifices for. For example, I haven't been able to hold down a 9-to-5 job or any serious relationship, but I think it's worth it, yeah.
And how does all of this make you feel?
Lucky, Leonie, I suppose. Blessed, even, that through such a small gesture, I can have such a big impact on someone's day. Just one noise, one kissy face out the window.
What do you say to people who call this so-called harassment?
I do sometimes come across people who say it makes them feel unsafe, and that on the top of the barrage of things that they're experiencing everywhere else, that it's a really upsetting thing to encounter. And I hear that, I listen, I think about it and say, what about if you just get your tits out for the boys? That might be a better way of solving the problem.
Indeed. Now, just for a bit of fun, Tony, what would you yell at me?
Oh, tricky one, because you're sitting down, and I find that I normally get more creative if I'm leaning out the car and the beautiful lady is walking along.
Okay. Can we thank you? Does that...
Oh.
Helpful?
Oh.
Great. Great. What a treat.
Hey, baby, bet you'd like a bit of my in your I'd love to give you a with my in the for a bit of a in the
An artist. Great.
Show us your tits. Fwah! Nice ass.
That was real, no acting.
Incredible.
What you're always hoping is that you will come back with a thing that's going to fix it or make you feel better anyway, make you feel like you've owned the situation. So I've been doing some work on that. I talked to an HR officer to get some tips. Spoiler alert, I'm the HR officer. Hello. Or as a street harasser might say, I'd fuck you if you weren't so fat. A lot of men say they don't know how to talk to fellow citizens and co-workers anymore. They say, we don't know what the rules are. We don't know what we're allowed to say to people. Of course, when they say it, it doesn't really sound like that. It sounds more like, we don't know how to talk to people. Really though, it's very simple. That's a really nice dress, Susan. That's a very thorough report, Denise. Show us your growler! And the old salutation are not compliments. A compliment is a polite expression of praise or admiration, whereas asking to see someone's growler or rating their fuckability is unacceptable and inappropriate. Let's talk about touching. Now, in the workplace, the only appropriate place to touch someone, unless you're doing CPR, is here and here. Do watch out for the old dance floor crotch press. It's good to direct it at the place where the problem is coming from. No! Remember, it's not your job to stop the harassment. It's your job to name it and move on and find the words that move you from shock to power.
Hey, baby! Charge your poop nuts.
Boobs! Boobs!
Is that star 555? Yes, somebody's behaving badly on the roads. Would you like their registration? So, honestly.
So good.
Fantastic advice.
I think the important thing is that you're not trying to fix it, right? You're just trying to make you feel better. 'Cause it's not your job to fix the world, it's your job to survive.
Totally.
Just yell no.
No.
On all of the offending body parts as they come towards you.
Just yell anything, you know? Like,
totally.
I once, someone yelled something at me on Queen Street and I panicked and just went, cool hat. It's kind of like a compliment.
I like
as well.
it. And it's frozen.
Yeah. My reaction to things like that I've just ingrained in myself now, so it comes out immediately, which is just shame. Like, if you say anything at me unsolicited, that's just what comes out of my mouth because I've trained myself to And I have accidentally said that to someone who wasn't being mean, it just came out of my mouth.
Your coffee.
Nice. He's like, nice, I like your shoes or something. And I was like, shame. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
But what about when you're in physical danger and like someone's actually like up in your grill? You know, that's the tough one.
Yeah.
It is tricky. Something we've always wanted to do here at On the Rag was host our own series of self-defence classes. Yes. But again, it's sort of difficult because you've got to weigh up, the onus isn't on women to have to know how to, you know, do the Miss Congeniality, remember to sing thing, you know, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, is sort of placing responsibility on women and to a certain extent is sort of victim blamey.
Yeah.
So kind of balancing that tension, but at the same time, learning self-defence is incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
And if you could learn something that just helps you walk through the world with a little bit more confidence and strength, then why not? So
why not?
Yeah.
we've decided to invite to the studio today, or to our house of pain, I should say, Vivian Chandra. She is an honorary ragger, long-time listener, amazing woman, and she is a teacher with the Women's Self-Defence Network in New Zealand. So please welcome her to the studio.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the On the Rag studio. I feel safer having you here already.
I feel a little more powerful
Yeah.
as well.
She'll smash all of you.
They didn't show, but I had my Wonder Woman costume on as I came in. Yeah.
It was too intimidating, we made her take it off.
A bit more low-key. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and how you got involved in self-defence?
So a few years ago, I found this organisation that I now do a fair amount of work with called Women's Self-Defence Network, Wahine Toa. And it's actually one of the only feminist women's self-defence network. It's been around for like 30 years. It started in Invercargill and it's now spread nationwide. And all of those courses are fully funded and free for the participants.
That's awesome.
And yeah.
Awesome, and then also it's like, but why do we need it? But that's amazing that you're doing this work, but why do we need it?
Yeah.
Why do you have to learn another thing?
Yeah. And I totally get that. Like you said in the intro, it's not meant to be victim blamey. It's kind of this, I like the analogy of the seatbelt. You could just drive around as fast as you want without a seatbelt, but having the seatbelt is like a good thing, right? It's kind of that extra little tool in your kete. What I do when I teach, it's not about, oh, and now you're like this awesome ninja warrior with like 1,000 different moves.
Why are we here?
But it's more about having that confidence. All of my classes, we talk about the difference between fear and anger. Think about all of those terrible, terrible movies where the woman needs to be rescued, right?
Yeah.
And what happens when she needs to be rescued? She normally screams. Yeah. So, you know,
Or freezes.
Yeah, or freezes, yep. And so one thing we sometimes do to start the class is we're like, imagine all those movies and I want you to scream and I want this to be like the last scream you ever do. And then I'm going to show you how to yell. All right? And that's kind of like...
Did you get shivers?
Yeah.
I'm sweating already.
And it's the idea is that you're changing what's fear into anger. And it's not anger as in I'm... Yeah, like that, you know, not a unreasonable anger. It's a reasonable anger. It's an anger that says, you have no right to touch me. I have every right to be here in the street, in this house, wherever you are. You have the right to do what you want to do. And so it's the anger is in the, no, you can't do that to me.
Righteous anger.
Amazing. Okay, I think we're all amping.
Yep.
Can you please show us some moves here in the studio?
That's a great idea. Let's give that a go.
All right.
Get us out of here.
All right, so what's super important when we learn self-defense is to keep ourselves safe to begin with. If you've learned the safe way to do techniques, then you're not going to hurt yourself, which is the other really important thing, because if you hurt yourself, then you can't get away. Here in the studio, we're all friends, so we don't want to accidentally hurt our friends. And that's
Definitely not.
one of my favorite kicks of all time is what we call the ballerina kick. And
Sounds so pretty.
It is pretty. So the whole reason we call it a ballerina kick is, I think it's called on point, when they kind of go up on their toes. The top of our foot here has a whole bunch of tiny little bones. I sometimes call them chicken bones. And so by pointing it, it makes it really hard. For now, what I want you to do is just kind of stand in a very comfortable kind of position. Take up more space than you feel that you should. part of self-defense is kind of reclaiming that space. So you can take up as much space as you want.
Me walking home late at night.
Stash.
Yeah. And what we're doing is we're pointing our toes and then we're kicking right up between their legs, right up into the testicles.
Into the wishbone.
And
yeah, with that chicken bone.
And earlier we were talking about like turning that fear into anger and yelling. What I think would be fun to yell in this case is either nuts or raho. Yeah.
Yes.
Raho is te reo Māori for that entire area. Yeah. Bad guys come right in front of you and you're like, no, back off. They're not backing off, and so you just go, nuts!
Whoa.
I felt that in my nuts.
Yeah. We'll do 5, all right?
Okay.
And 1. Okay, so what do we all forget?
Yeah.
Tahi.
Hands!
Rua.
David! Too high.
3.
Slenderman.
4. Nuts. Rima. Nuts. Nice. Well done.
Feel strong.
I do.
Feel
I
powerful.
feel better.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for
all right.
gracing the On the Rag kitchen, which has now turned into...
A dojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you want to know more about what Vivian does, about what the Women's Self-Defence Network does, go to wsdn.org.nz. And don't forget to check out other episodes of On the Rag and also our podcast, On the Rag, on thespinoff.co.nz. Otherwise, that's us for this month. We'll see you again next month.
Ka kite.
He tērā marama.
My right.
Okay,